There you go. See, everybody does. That's why we're actually celebrating, because we know everybody knows.
The government story is obviously a crop.
Bomb deception of fabled enemies.
That's what we're out here.
And got loose change right here.
Okay.
Must
Who
see.
else is with us?
For not
Gary,
running truth.
Shivy, get over here. Get over here.
At school, that's important.
It's all important.
Come on to the podium, man. Come on up to the podium. Speaker's corner right here. Drop 30 seconds on 9/11.
Oh, sure.
And we're behind you.
All right. Vancouver, replete with heroin. Where do you think we get all the heroin from? Afghanistan. Before we went there, it was, I think it was like number 10 or something in the rankings. Now it's number 1, and it's upwards to over $500 billion a year in heroin, and that's what they're doing, or opium. Sorry.
It's $2 billion daily.
How do you get the information here? Watch these movies.
Yeah, watch.
Yeah, $2 billion.
Have you seen these shows at all?
One at a time. One at a time. One at a time.
These 2 movies for. I don't know what else to say other than 9/11's all important. Everything that's wrong with our society nowadays can be traced back to that date, and we're not going to move forward as a world society unless we solve that problem right there.
Where do I begin? First of all, basically, if you go on the FBI's official website, fbi.gov, click on the most wanted terrorists. Click on Bin Laden's wanted poster. You'll not find 9/11 as this crime, because he had nothing to do with it. He was a CIA asset back in the 80s. And second of all, George Bush said after the events of 9/11 that he saw the first plane hit the first tower. He saw it on TV. That was a lie, because the footage was not released till the day after. So how would he know unless he had prior knowledge? That's about it. And lastly, Bin Laden and George Bush are partners in the Carlyle Group. They're business partners.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of Toronto, very interesting question was, where do we get our information? And the key to understanding the media is that good journalists will dig up rare mainstream news stories. You might be working at the Star, you might be working at the Globe, CBC, and you'll do a really good piece like the disappearing male about the lowering of the male sperm count, which is why 100 years ago we could have 10 kids. Now people take 2-3 years to have 1. But that story will be on the CBC called The Disappearing Male, but it will not be repeated by the other media outlets. So the key is that the truth is more likely in rare mainstream news articles that good journalists dig up, rather than the propaganda that big corporations repeat over and over again everywhere until we're all repeating it. That's the key. If everybody's saying it, totally different people, then somebody put it everywhere, and that's the hidden hand behind a lot of our institutions that we're trying to expose. So a lot of it's out there in mainstream news articles. Again, the news that's reported but not repeated is more than likely true, and the news that's repeated everywhere all the time by every corporation that owns every network and newspaper is more likely to be propaganda or lies. But outside of that, here on 9/11, the 8th anniversary of 9/11, the good news is that whenever we do make a public display like this, tons of people just like yourselves will approach us and say, oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, I know. In fact, it's more normal today to think it was an inside job or that the US government had some hand in it than it is to think it was all Bin Laden and it was all done by a few guys in a cave. So after 8 years, we can celebrate the fact that a majority of Canadians do know that 9/11 was an inside job. It happened 8 years ago today. And so we're here at the City of Toronto's official Speaker's Corner, speaking freely and trying to let our fellow Canadians and fellow Torontonians know that we know, we're not afraid to show, and the more that we talk about it, the more we can get done on it, the more we can get our privacy back, our rights back, we can end the wars in Afghanistan, and we can bring our troops home.